While Albert Einstein is primarily known for his contributions to physics and science, he has also been an inspiration and motivation to many people. His quotes, advocacy for social and political causes, curiosity, perseverance, and willingness to question the status quo have inspired generations of scientists, thinkers, and individuals from all walks of life. Therefore, Albert Einstein can be considered not only a scientific genius, but also a source of inspiration and motivation for those who seek to make a positive impact on the world. The hardest thing to understand in the world is the income tax. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Only two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the former. Weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. If we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? Common sense is the collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. The gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent for absorbing positive knowledge. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Everyone should be respected as an individual, but no one idolized. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. Technological progress is like an axe in the hands of a pathological criminal. The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind. Intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. You can't blame gravity for falling in love. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. The world is a dangerous place to live. Not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. The only reason for time is so that everything doesn't happen at once. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. I live in that solitude which is painful in youth, but delicious in the years of maturity. Nationalism is an infantile disease. It is the measles of mankind. If people are good only because they fear punishment and hope for reward, then we are a sorry lot indeed. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Pure mathematics is, in its way, the poetry of logical ideas. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. If you are out to describe the truth, leave elegance to the tailor. In matters of truth and justice, there is no difference between large and small problems, for issues concerning the treatment of people are all the same. The distinction between the past, present and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. It's not that I'm so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. The only source of knowledge is experience. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Any man who can drive safely while kissing a pretty girl is simply not giving the kiss the attention it deserves. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. All that is valuable in human society depends upon the opportunity for development accorded the individual. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. The value of a man should be seen in what he gives and not in what he is able to receive. A table, a chair, a bowl of fruit, and a violin. What else does a man need to be happy? Before God, we are all equally wise and equally foolish. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. Without deep reflection, one knows from daily life that one exists for other people. Most people say that it is the intellect which makes a great scientist. They are wrong. It is character. It is strange to be known so universally and yet to be so lonely. The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. The only real valuable thing is intuition. And it dwells only in the bosom of fools. My religion consists of a humble admiration of the illimitable superior spirit who reveals himself in the slight details we are able to perceive with our frail and feeble mind. Joy in looking and comprehending is nature's most beautiful gift. We cannot despair of humanity, since we ourselves are human beings. Information is not knowledge. You cannot simultaneously prevent and prepare for war. I think and think for months and years, 99 times. The conclusion is false. The 100th time I am right. To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle, requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science. The whole of science is nothing more than a refinement of everyday thinking. It should be possible to explain the laws of physics to a barmaid. God does not play dice. There is no logical way to the discovery of these elemental laws. There is only the way of intuition, which is helped by a feeling for the order lying behind the appearance. The devil has put a penalty on all things we enjoy in life. Either we suffer in health, or we suffer in soul, or we get fat. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. When you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. When you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. That's relativity. It is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education. The environment is everything that isn't me. You can never solve a problem on the level on which it was created. We still do not know 1,000th of 1% of what nature has revealed to us. Never do anything against conscience, even if the state demands it. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute, and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour, and it seems like a minute. Politics is for the present, but an equation is for eternity. Concern for man and his fate must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget this in the midst of your diagrams and equations. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. true religion is real living. Living with all one's soul, with all one's goodness and righteousness. Do not worry about your difficulties in mathematics. I can assure you mine are still greater. When the solution is simple, God is answering. I never think of the future, it comes soon enough. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Love is a better teacher than duty. A man should look for what is, and not for what he thinks should be. Confusion of goals and perfection of means seems, in my opinion, to characterize our age. An empty stomach is not a good political advisor. I am not only a pacifist, but a militant pacifist. I am willing to fight for peace. Nothing will end war unless the people themselves refuse to go to war. Memory is deceptive because it is colored by today's events. Nothing is more destructive of respect for the government and the law of the land than passing laws which cannot be enforced. All religions, arts and sciences are branches of the same tree. True art is characterized by an irresistible urge in the creative artist. Let every man be respected as an individual and no man idolized. It is my conviction that killing under the cloak of war is nothing but an act of murder. Science is a wonderful thing if one does not have to earn one's living at it. Anyone who doesn't take truth seriously in small matters cannot be trusted in large ones either. I do not believe in the God of theology who rewards good and punishes evil. We should take care not to make the intellect our goal. It has, of course, powerful muscles, but no personality. Small is the number of people who see with their eyes and think with their minds. I have just got a new theory of eternity. There comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge but can never prove how it got there. The man of science is a poor philosopher. One may say the eternal mystery of the world is its comprehensibility. The grand aim of all science is to cover the greatest number of empirical facts by logical deduction from the smallest number of hypotheses or axioms. The faster you go, the shorter you are. The unleashed power of the atom has changed everything save our modes of thinking, and we thus drift toward unparalleled catastrophe. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. It gives me great pleasure indeed to see the stubbornness of an incorrigible nonconformist warmly acclaimed. I used to go away for weeks in a state of confusion. God may be subtle, but he isn't plain mean. Knowledge of what is does not open the door directly to what should be. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. I do not believe that civilization will be wiped out in a war fought with the atomic bomb. Perhaps 2/3 of the people of the earth will be killed. I very rarely think in words at all. A thought comes, and I may try to express it in words afterwards. Mozart's music is so pure and beautiful that I see it as a reflection of the inner beauty of the universe. Solitude is painful when one is young, but delightful when one is more mature. The process of scientific discovery is, in effect, a continual flight from wonder. The road to perdition has ever been accompanied by lip service to an ideal. The high destiny of the individual is to serve rather than to rule. I am a deeply religious non-believer. This is a somewhat new kind of religion. Reading, after a certain age, diverts the mind too much from its creative pursuits. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. It is only to the individual that a soul is given. Sometimes one pays most for the things one gets for nothing. The attempt to combine wisdom and power has only rarely been successful, and then only for a short while. I cannot imagine a God who rewards and punishes the objects of his creation and is but a reflection of human frailty. I shall never believe that God plays dice with the world. Isn't it strange that I, who have written only in popular books, should be such a popular fellow? To the master's honor all must turn, each in its track, without a sound, forever tracing Newton's ground. It was the experience of mystery, even if mixed with fear, that engendered religion. All these primary impulses, not easily described in words, are the springs of man's actions. Occurrences in this domain are beyond the reach of exact prediction because of the variety of factors in operation, not because of any lack of order in nature. It stands to the everlasting credit of science that by acting on the human mind it has overcome man's insecurity before himself and before nature. The most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible. I love to travel, but hate to arrive. People love chopping wood. In this activity one immediately sees results. I believe that a simple and unassuming manner of life is best for everyone, best both for the body and the mind. In order to be an immaculate member of a flock of sheep, one must above all be a sheep oneself. You ask me if I keep a notebook to record my great ideas. I've only ever had one. The release of atomic energy has not created a new problem. It has merely made more urgent the necessity of solving an existing one. As far as I'm concerned, I prefer silent vice to ostentatious virtue. God always takes the simplest way. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain, and as far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. Too many of us look upon Americans as dollar chasers. This is a cruel libel, even if it is reiterated thoughtlessly by the Americans themselves. Most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple and may, as a rule, be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone. Morality is of the highest importance but for us, not for God. There could be no fairer destiny for any physical theory than that it should point the way to a more comprehensive theory in which it lives on as a limiting case.